Got your boyfriend feeling like a groupie.
You know we on
Scared like this, looking like a movie.
You know we on it.
Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Yes, and this year the list of defensive tackles at the draft runs deep, and no player may be more scrutinized at their position than Nick Fairley. Well, he might have had just one sensational year at Auburn, but his contributions were enough to help the Tigers win the BCS National Championship. And now Fairley is looking to be as effective at the next level.
Indeed. On Friday, Josina sat down with a player who many experts are totally split on. He had a short college career, he had work ethic questions, and his motivation have all been questions. And Josina got some answers from the man himself.
So they call you Nick Flair. What's that nickname all about? And any chance you change that to Notorious NIC?
Oh, man. No, it was just something that was one of my fans gave me on Twitter that when I first started my Twitter up, I just ran with it.
So this has nothing to do with your love for WrestleMania or anything like that, or Ric Flair, nothing like that?
Oh yeah, I like it now. Don't get me wrong. I grew up watching wrestling. You know, growing up with my brothers and everything in the household, we used to do wrestling, move on each other. So yeah, I grew up watching it.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit of business here. I want to know what visits that you have had since leaving the scouting combine or whatever private workouts with certain teams.
I started off with Buffalo, and I went to Cincinnati, Tennessee, and I just left Denver.
Okay, and actually talk about Denver because I believe you were here Wednesday. Why don't you tell us how that visit went with the Broncos, and what was their point of emphasis with you while you were here at Dove Valley?
It's basically a process of just getting to know who I am, you know, going in with the interviews and what type of guy I am on the board with film work and everything, with some football IQ and things.
So did you walk away from your visit with the Broncos feeling like there was a good likelihood that they would draft you #2 overall with their pick come April 28th?
I wouldn't say all that. Well, it went real good, you know. The visit went real great. You know, I got to sit down with John Elway and Coach Fox and the GM when I sat down and had lunch with those guys. So I would say it was a great visit. We just had to wait to see when draft time comes.
What were your impressions of John Elway?
John, you know, he's a Hall of Famer, you know, John. I was happy to actually be in the same room with him to sit down and talk to him. That was actually my third time, but it's feel like the first every time I walk in the room with him.
Talk to me a little bit about Tracy Rocker, who is also a fellow Lombardi winner, was your defensive line coach at Auburn, and what impact he's had on you as a man and as a football player.
Oh, Coach Rocker, he had a huge impact on me, you know. When I got to Auburn, he was just getting there, so he basically just took me under his wing and was teaching me the ropes of not even just football and life in general. You know, he always told me there's life after football. And the first year, you know, we started off, he helped me with a lot with my technique, with my stance, you know, my first step, my hand, my feet work, my hip work, and all that. The second year we coming in, he would just fine-tune things, you know, helped me to stay low and play leverage on the line when it comes to playing a run and everything.
So tell me, how is it that a young boy like yourself who grew up in Mobile, Alabama, one of 10 children who once had to fend for portions of your dinner around the dinner table, whose father is a DuPont chemical plant worker, mother was a custodian. So coming up in this environment, how do you feel now that there could be questions about your work ethic?
You know, like you just said, you know, growing up, I always had to work. You know, my mom and dad, they make sure that we had chores in the house. You know, we always had something to do, whether it's there, wash dishes, you know, wash clothes, or basically clean up the bathroom. You know, we always had something to do. So I would say my work ethic is, you know, is very fine.
Let me ask you this, though, Nick. Where do you think the root of the concerns over your work ethic comes from, and is it fair to trace it back to your adolescence or the NCAA ineligibility coming out of high school and then having to spend a couple years at Copia Lincoln? Do you feel like that's where it comes from?
Having growing up in Mobile, you know, small town area, and just growing up there, I've been working hard, playing football since I was 8, you know, with the Williamson High School. Then, like you said, coming out of there, going to Copia Lincoln, you know, I worked hard going there, you know, spent 2 years there to go hard for my teammates that, you know, that I know that got my back and that's beside me and willing to go to war with me. So.
And this is kind of where we bring in Marcell Dareus, because, you know, to most people, you have more of an upside than him, but some say they feel like Marcell Dareus is a safer pick. So I want to hear from your mouth. How do you feel like you compare to the defensive tackle out of Alabama?
I really just haven't watched film on him, you know, to see what type of player he really is, you know, each and every game. So, but I know what I can bring to the table, and that's, like I said before, you know.
Warren Sapp said, according to Pro Football Talk, that he feels Marcell is better than you, and that, quote, he doesn't use his hands, he's speaking about you, and that you're just bigger, more athletic than most guys. Did you hear Warren Sapp say that about you in comparison to Marcell Dareus, and how do you feel about that?
Well, I didn't hear, and really, like I said, you know, it's really opinion, you know, to be compare, like I said, compare us to. So, you know, you can take me, and you, like you said, Sapp take Marcell Dareus. So, who do you take?
Take Nick Fairley.
Okay, there you go.
I was reading something that Michael Lombardi also wrote, and he said that just according to his own analysis, as of right now, he would take Marvin Austin and Corey Legit ahead of you. Where do you stack up to those guys?
You know, the draft is loaded with great talent at defensive line. You know, like you said, you just named those two guys, and you also have Daquan Bowers, and you have Claiborne, you know, so it's going to be fun to watch for the draft, you know, see where everyone goes.
But Nick, let's be real here, because obviously when the BCS title game was done, everybody was talking about Nick Fairley. I was on Twitter that night, I saw everybody, cha-ching!
Watch Nick Fairley get penetration, completely just pushing the Oregon offensive line.
He's cashing in all this other stuff, and to hear someone like Michael Lombardi from NFL Network say that he would consider taking Marvin Austin ahead of you simply because of his concerns over being a one-year wonder, you have to be taken aback a little bit to hear something like that.
Me and the guy by the name of Jake Ricks, we was, you know what I'm saying, sharing the role at nose guard, you know, we was rotating in and out. I wasn't as effective as I was this past year when I got at Auburn. So, like you said, you know, those guys, when they say that, I just really don't pay any mind.
All right, so let me ask you this. How does it make you feel when people label you dirty? Because I know during last season, I saw a couple reports that said you knocked out about 3 quarterbacks, and, you know, you take a little bit of that alpha dog with you, and some could say the Broncos could use a little bit of dog on defense with the way that unit has performed.
A lot of folks, like you said, a lot of folks say that, but then then again, there's people that say I play the game the way it should be played at defensive line. You know, so really I just go out there and try to play my game and try to be a dominant defensive tackle.
Do you try to bring that alpha aspect with your game? Do you try to go in there and tap into dark places and maybe bring in your Nick Flair alter ego? Is that your goal?
No, you know, I'm just out there having fun playing football, the game that I love to play. You know, like I said, I've been playing since I was 8 years old, so I think, you know, I just love the game itself.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, there have been some reports too since the BCS title game that have said some teams behind the scenes are comparing you to Albert Haynesworth. What do you make of that, and how does that make you feel?
You know, when they compare me to folks, I always say, you know, I'm Nick Fairley and I'm going to try to be myself.
But do you think that comparison is unfair given the fact that I'm sure you feel like you're eager to play, and some might say Albert Haynesworth is not so eager to play?
Well, I'm really eager to play, you know. I can't wait to get out there and see how it is, you know, in the NFL. I know it's a business and everything, an aspect, but, you know, the game itself, I love it, you know. And to play on the top level itself, the game, football, you know, it's a blessing for me.
You are a player that I remember watching you during the BCS title game, and you just wreaked havoc on the TV screen. You obviously did the same in the SEC. You led the nation in tackles for lost yardage. So I want to hear you vocalize your own confidence. How good can you be, and do you feel like you could be better than Ndamukong Suh?
With the Dominant Suh thing, you know, Dominant Suh, he's a great player and everything, and that's big shoes, you know what I'm saying, to come behind, knowing that he got drafted last year, came into the NFL, you know, Rookie of the Year, well, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and to make it Pro Bowl, that's a big, you know what I'm saying, big step. So I just have to wait and see.
Yeah, you have to wait and see, but I'm asking you, will you be better than Ndamukong Suh? Come on, what you got to say to that?
I don't know. We have to wait and see. That's a big thing to say.
Okay. So your former teammate, Cam Newton, has been in the news a lot. and obviously has faced a lot of questions and criticism like yourself in this period coming up to the draft. Do you feel like any of the criticism that he has faced has been racially based, like Warren Moon has said in the news recently?
You know, Cam is a great guy, you know. I'm sure he's dealing with it real well, you know, so I'm sure he's very humble, he's very competitive, so I'm sure what he's going through, like I said before, he's dealing with it.
But when you hear critics say that his smile is fake or that he might be lazy or things like that, one thing I want to ask you, do you feel like that's true? And also, do you feel like those terms are kind of code terms, racial terms in your mind?
I know it's not true, you know. Cam's always smiling, you know. That's his smile, you know. And I know he's not lazy. He's a very hard worker, you know. I went through spring with this guy, you know. He's one of the leaders that was leading sprints in the spring, so I know he's not lazy. That guy's, like I said before, he's very competitive and hard worker. Cam was a guy on offense, and as you can say, they say I was a guy on defense, you know. So
here comes Fairley. He's got him ripped down to the ground.
So basically, what you're telling me is you were the big man on campus. That's what you're telling me.
Besides Cam, yeah.
Besides Cam.
And you can't see my eyes unless my head is bent. You dig?
And I also hear that you were some heck of a basketball player back in the day, that you're kind of tough to defend one-on-one. So I'm thinking, who's the best person that exemplifies your basketball game in the NBA? Would it be Glenn Big Baby Davis 2.0 or somebody like that from the Celtics? Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Oh, you hit it right on the nail. Wow. Well, I could, you know, I'm not saying that Big Baby can't dunk.
Welcome to the blooper reel, you big baby.
But I think I could dunk a lot better than Big Baby could.
All right, I'll tell you what though, if you get drafted by the Broncos, we'll do a little one-on-one basketball and see who has game, because I'm fast on defense, so we'll check that out.
Okay, we'll have to see.
All right, so tell me what
kind of... I ain't gonna
let
you win. I ain't gonna take it easy.
And as long as we play for one another, ain't nothing we can't do.
Okay, so what I want you to do right now, Nick, is look into the camera and tell all Bronco fans why the Denver Broncos should take you with the #2 overall pick in the NFL draft.
I think they should draft me because of what I bring to the table, you know. I'm bringing, you know, very great pass rusher, run stopper, sideline player, you know, and I'm trying to bring a lot of joy to the community down there in Denver.